THWIP. What is going on, you wonderful nerds? Scott here, and I was sent these amazing 3D printed web shooters from my buddy Andrew from Twitter. He made these, and they're so cool. We've got the little trigger right here. Each one of these web cartridges is removable and magnetic. It is super rad. He sent it to us through our new P.O. box, which we just set up right here, all the info right there. These things are super cool. They're perfect for our month of Spider-Man videos for Webruary, and it got me thinking about Spider-Man's web shooters. And by got me thinking, I mean, I planned this topic months ago, and this was just serendipity that I could fit these in. Spider-Man's web shooters are no doubt iconic. 2/3 of movie Spider-Man recommend them. I mean, look at all the things they can do. Shields and parachutes and skis. I mean, what can't these things do? And yet, Spider-Man is not the first comic book superhero to have wrist-mounted web shooting accessories like these. The first one actually happened 20 years before Spider-Man was ever created. But first, a little background on the origin of Spider-Man's web shooters. So as I'm sure we all know, when Stan Lee came up with the character of Spider-Man, he sent it off to Jack Kirby to do all the heavy lifting, really flesh out the character and design what he would look like. But when Kirby came up with his idea and sent it back to Stan was not happy with what he had come up with. Not too much is known about Kirby's design of Spider-Man, but reportedly in his eyes, the hero would have used a web shooting gun instead of wrist web shooters. This is very similar to the character of The Fly, which Kirby helped co-create with Joe Simon, who used a buzz gun, which sounds similar to another previous character called the Tarantula, who could shoot steel silken strands from another web gun type thing. Kirby may have taken inspiration from that and thought of Spider-Man having a web gun. But again, Stan Lee was not super happy with Kirby's design, so he sent it off to Steve Ditko, who created a character with wrist-mounted web shooters that used web fluid cartridges. In the comic book, we can see that Peter Parker himself invented these web shooters. Believing a spider needs a web, Pete invented them in his room shortly after gaining his powers. Later in Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1, it tells us that Pete has studied spiderwebs so much that he's probably the world's leading expert. And this was all the way back when he was still a high school student. He creates and compresses the web fluid into small cartridges that he carries on his belt, and he can control the spray to be a fine spray, a thick goop, or a strong line that allows him to swing through the city, as well as all that other stuff from earlier, like skis! And of course, there's that famous sound that these web shooters make, THWIP, which we've actually talked about in another video here. But again, Spider-Man was not the first character to have web shooters like these. To find that character, we have to go all the way back to Fox's The Eagle number 2, featuring the Spider Queen. Shannon Kane was the assistant of her scientist husband, Dr. Harry Kane, but Harry was killed by enemy spies. After his death, Shannon wanted to carry on his work and found a formula for spider web fluid. Yes, web fluid. She discovers that she can shoot it into the air and make a web line strong enough to swing on. Yes, web lines used for swinging. Shannon Kane then designs a set of bracelets that contain and shoot the web fluid. Yes, wrist-mounted web shooters. How incredible was that? I mean, as far as I can tell, Steve Ditko was not inspired by the Spider Queen when he was creating his interpretation of Spider-Man. The Spider Queen was created by someone named Elsa Lasau, which was probably a pseudonym for Arturo and Luis Casanueve. Luis was a fairly popular comic book artist at the time, having an incredible run on Golden Age Aquaman. But again, as far as I know, there's no evidence to say that Steve Ditko even knew that this character existed, which would make for one incredible coincidence that only the Parker luck could provide. But whatever happened to Shannon Kane, the Spider Queen, you might be wondering? Well, interestingly enough, she fell into the public domain. But that is not the end of her story. In 1993, Marvel created a series called Invaders, and with issue number 1, we saw the Spider Queen. And I want to point out that this Marvel character is technically not the same as the Golden Age character of the Spider Queen. It is a character inspired by the public domain version. She was a member of the villainous Battle Axis, along with several other Golden Age heroes that also slipped into the public domain. Together, they were all turned from heroes into Nazis. She also made a brief appearance later in Avengers 1959, but really not much has happened with her character. So there you go, just a little bit of fun Spider-Man history for you about these web shooters. I would love to know your thoughts about this though. Do you think that Spider-Man's web shooters and the Spider Queen's web shooters are so similar that it would be impossible for Steve Ditko not to have taken inspiration from there? And I would especially love to know if you have any information regarding that. I haven't been able to find anything yet, but maybe there's something out there. This video was a part of our larger month of Spider-Man videos for Webruary, so if you want to catch up on that, you can go ahead and click right here. I would especially recommend this video about the history of Spider-Man's mechanical web shooters versus organic webbing. I will see you guys on Wednesday for another video. My name is Scott, reminding you to read between the panels and grow smarter through comics. See ya.